in the year 2011, a huge tsunami struck Japan and caused damage to the Fukushima nuclear power plant, which impacted the lives of many people, and a damage worth millions was done. This event was ranked as one of the biggest nuclear disasters, and also with regard to the international nuclear rating of 7 was given to it. Now this tells us that how important is it to have laws when it comes to the nuclear power and the nuclear disasters that takes place in our country. And this is what we will be looking today. Hello and welcome to the In News series section of Drishti IAS. I am Aisha, and in today's episode we will be looking at the aspect of the amendments that can be done to the nuclear laws in India. So let us see. The news talks about committees constituted to amend nuclear liability laws. So a committee has been constituted, and this committee will look to amend the nuclear liability laws. So basically the laws which deals with the nuclear aspect in the country. And in total what we will be looking will be what is the news, then about the Atomic Act, and then the nuclear liability law, what changes can be expected, what the committee is saying, what are the aspects into which the committee will be looking, and in the end a prelims MCQ. Topic is of relevance from General Studies paper 3, that is nuclear energy. Now let us first of all look at one aspect, that is what is nuclear energy. What is it? So when we talk about atoms are the building blocks of anything. Now when we say nuclear energy, it is the energy which comes through the nuclei. Nuclei is nucleus. Now nucleus is inside a atom, and nucleus is the core, and this core is made up of protons and neutrons, and the energy from a nucleus can be generated into two ways, that is through fusion and fission. Fusion is when different nuclei when different nuclei comes together, and fission is when the split of nuclei takes place. So this is how the nuclear energy in a very basic term you can understand. And when the disaster from this nuclear energy takes place, it becomes huge, it becomes vast in nature, and also there are laws in India which governs the use of nuclear power, nuclear energy. So before moving to the news, Drishti IAS Mukherjee Nagar classes has now been shifted to Noida, and the admissions are open for the IAS GS Foundation course covering both prelims and mains. English medium batch is starting from 8th of April, while the Hindi medium batch admissions are open. In case of any query, give us a call at 87501. So the news is that the government has constituted committees with members. So different committees has been constituted by the government, and the members of these committee comes from Department of Atomic Energy, then Atomic Energy Regulatory Board, Niti Aayog, and also the Ministry of Law and Justice. So from all four aspects, members are included in a committee. And the basic idea for this formation of the committee is to discuss amendments to the Atomic Energy Act and the Civil Liability for Nuclear Damage Act. So these two acts which deals with the nuclear energy aspect in India, amendments to these acts can be made, and this is the point of discussion why this committee has been formed. I think this is very clear that why the formation of the committee has taken place, who are the members of the committee, and the two acts which are in question with regard to the amendment, that is the Atomic Energy Act and the Civil Liability for Nuclear Damage Act. Now what is the discussion all about? So discussion is all about that whether private companies should be allowed to participate in building and commissioning future nuclear reactors. Now the discussion is about that till now India, when we say about nuclear energy, then it completely comes under the government control, and it is the government which controls the every aspect of nuclear energy in India. Now the question is that the committee has been formed to discuss that the Atomic Energy Act and the nuclear liability laws, whether the engagement of the private companies or the private players should be allowed in the building and the commissioning of the nuclear reactors in India. Now this is a very, very big and a strategic decision to allow the participation of private players in the nuclear energy segment of India, which has completely been under the government control. Now there are plans to amend these laws, and they were first announced in the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman's budget speech, and this talks about that the nuclear commerce involving India and the Western companies has not taken off. So the nuclear talks or the nuclear commerce, commerce means the trade, the nuclear trade between the India and the Western countries has not worked out, even though the signing of the India-US nuclear deal took place in the year 2007. So even though the India-US nuclear deal took place in the year 2007, but still the nuclear commerce between India and the Western countries has not taken off till now. So this is what the discussion would be all about. First of all, involvement of the private companies in the building up of the nuclear reactors, and then to amend the Atomic Energy Act and the Nuclear Liability Act, and also to talk about the commerce between India and Western countries. Now, what is the contradictory point, or what is the point of contention that is coming between the India and the Western countries? Now what happens is that the Western international nuclear power companies, so the companies of the Western world, what are they saying, that why the nuclear commerce has not started between India and the Western companies? So the Western international nuclear power companies, they are saying that clauses in the CLNDA are unacceptable. That is the nuclear law clauses in under the CLNDA, they are unacceptable to the Western companies, and CLNDA stands for, that is the Civil Liability for Nuclear Damage Act. Civil Liability for Nuclear Damage Act. So they are saying that the clauses which are given under it, they are unacceptable to the Western companies. And what they are saying is that under the CLNDA, mandate is given a high degree of liability for suppliers on nuclear power components. So it is saying that the companies who are supplying the nuclear power components, it means, imagine this is one company in India, this is another company in US, and the company from the US is supplying the nuclear power components to India. Now under the CLNDA Act of India, it says that the supplier, the nuclear supplier, also has the responsibility. It means the nuclear supplier, the companies which are supplying the components, they also need to bear the responsibility in case anything wrong or any kind of nuclear disaster takes place. And this is unacceptable to the Western companies. So mandate a high degree of liability for suppliers on nuclear power components, and also contradict the International Convention for Supplementary Compensation for Nuclear Damages, because the CSC, it focuses only on the immediate liability of operators. Now they are saying that under the International Convention for Supplementary Compensation of Nuclear Damages, the liability only lies with the operator. Now the difference is that under the CLNDA, supplier also needs to have the liability, while under the International Convention, the liability, immediate liability, lies on the operator. Now let me tell you the difference. Supplier is, imagine a company from US is sending the components. In case of any problem, the supplier will also need to bear the consequences for it. While on the other hand, this is company number one in India who is operating a nuclear power plant, and this is any company in US, and this company has sent any kind of nuclear component which has not worked well, but under the International Convention, it says that only the operator, it means that the that the company which is operating in India, that will only bear the consequences or the liability. The supplier will not bear the liability. So they are not comfortable with the first aspect. They are comfortable with the second aspect, that they do not want to have the responsibility or the liability which is on the supplier's side. I hope things are clear. This is the major point of contention, that why the nuclear commerce or the nuclear trade is not taking off. Now, these clauses were inserted in the year 2012 when a major uproar or contention took place between the government and the opposition parties with regard to the examples given with regard to the Bhopal gas tragedy in the year 1984, and also with regard to the Fukushima nuclear power plant example which took place in Japan in the year 2011. So this is the point of contention. Now, what else the committee will look into? So the committee will also look into the aspect of the waste management of the nuclear power plant or the nuclear energy, fuel sourcing and handling, decommissioning and implementation of security and safeguards. So basically anything related to the nuclear energy or the nuclear power plant or the nuclear reactor, any kind of waste disposal and waste disposal with regard to the nuclear energy is also one of the main aspects, because that is not easy. And in case of any kind of gas leak or in case of any kind of radioactivity leakage takes place, it cannot impact a very small area, it impacts a very large area, and the impact goes on from one generation to another generation. And also the problem lies that a vast number of people also gets impacted by it. Now, what are the regulatory landscape of the nuclear energy sector in India? So how is the nuclear energy sector in India regulated? So basically the nuclear energy sector has a centralized control. Centralized control means that the complete control is under the government. So it is governed by the Atomic Energy Act of 1962. This act is what the amendment is also, the committee has also been formed so that the amendment can be made. So it is in India, the nuclear energy sector is governed by the Atomic Energy Act of 1962. The central government has exclusive authority over the nuclear energy. Exclusive authority means 100% authority, and FDI is also not allowed under the nuclear energy sector. Then if we talk about the Atomic Energy Regulatory Board, so it is responsible for overseeing safety standards and compliance within the nuclear industry in India. So safety standards and compliance will be looked by the Atomic Energy Regulatory Board. Then comes the Civil Liability for Nuclear Damages Act 2010. This is also the act which is under the committee for making the amendment. So this law caps operator liability. So under the Liability Act, the operator liability lies at around rupees 1,500 crores. 1,500 crores, and the insurance needs to take place, and the operator will pay amount till rupees 1,500 crore. And then comes the Indian Nuclear Insurance Pool. So this also provides insurance coverage for accident. So in case of any kind of accidents which takes place, the insurance coverage needs to be given. And then comes the international compliance, and the international compliance talks about that India adheres to the IAEA safeguards. And if we talk about the IAEA safeguards, so India is a signatory to the IAEA. Now IAEA basically talks about that the nuclear technology should not be transferred or should not be promoted for any kind of making of nuclear weapons or in any kind of making of things which can negatively impact the society. So it works towards making the peaceful society. And India is not a signatory to the NPT, Maintaining Strategic Autonomy. NPT is the Non-Proliferation Treaty, and Non-Proliferation Treaty, India is not a signatory to it, because Non-Proliferation Treaty, it also talks about that the transfer of nuclear technology must not take place with regard to making of the nuclear weapons. So this is the regulatory landscape of the nuclear energy sector in India. So basically you need to remember centralized control, then comes the Atomic Energy Act 1962, Civil Liability for Nuclear Damages Act 2010, up to operators cost up to rupees 1,500 crores. Now, Civil Liability for Nuclear Damages Act 2010, what does it talk about? So, it basically talks about that the victims which has suffered the damage or has been impacted with regards to any kind of nuclear disaster or nuclear damage, then the victims or the people, they need to have or they should be compensated for the damage that has been done to them. And then it provides a legal foundation that influences India's response to the nuclear incidents. And it is based on the Vienna Convention, Paris Convention, and the Brussels Supplementary Convention. And all these conventions basically talks about that the compensation needs to be given to the people and the disaster must not take place. Then the operator's liability lies up to rupees 1,500 crore, and insurance or financial security needs to be done. And in case the liability exceeds the 1,500 crore rupees limit, then the government needs to step in, and the government's limit is also around rupees from 2,000 crore to rupees 2,500 crores. So if the operator's cost liability exceeds, then the government will step in. And this act authorizes the Atomic Energy Regulatory Board, and the Atomic Energy Regulatory Board need to report the incident, any kind of nuclear accident which takes place within 15 days of the accident taking place. Then comes the next aspect, and that is the Atomic Energy Act 1962. So what does the Atomic Energy Act of 1962 talks about? So it grants the government monopoly over nuclear energy development. So this, under this act, it is the government which has the monopoly, and restriction of the private players has basically been done with regard to the Atomic Energy Act of 1962. And that is why this act and the Nuclear Liability Act is under the committee's discussion, that amendment needs to be made to these acts so that the private player participation can be done. And then this also gives monopoly under the nuclear energy development, limiting private sector participation and resulting in inadequate capital and slow expansion. Because if the FDI will not be allowed and the expansion of FDI will not be done, then from where the capital will come? And energy and nuclear energy sector is a very capital intensive sector and also a very specialized sector. Then this prevents the creation of a nuclear ecosystem, and the Department of Atomic Energy relies entirely on the government funding, and that is why making amendment is being looked into. Significance of the nuclear energy, why nuclear energy is considered important for India. So it provides a stable and a reliable source of electricity, because as of now, if we talk about, then India is very much dependent on the import of the coal, and around 85% of the electricity comes from the coal, and that is why the balance of trade is also goes into very much shrinkage because of the payment that needs to be made for the import of the crude oil, and also this increases the fossil fuels consumption. Then nuclear energy distributed 1.6% of India's total energy generation. So nuclear energy as of now has around 3% of electricity generation in India, and by the year 2050 it is expected to supply around 25% of India's electricity. Then increase nuclear capacity from around 8 gigawatt to 100 gigawatt by the year 2047. So basically the idea is to increase the electricity generation from the nuclear energy and reduce the dependence on the import of the crude oil. Then reducing import dependence we have just discussed. Then economic growth and job creation and sustainable urbanization and industrialization. Because nuclear energy electricity generation is a specialized field, so if that will be promoted, then more and more jobs would be created. And if we see then the rate at which the development and the urbanization is taking place, so and the renewable energy that India is also focusing on, and India's net zero target of achievement by the year 2070 also needs to be kept in mind, which requires India to to reduce its dependence on the crude oil and the import of the crude oil and move towards the renewable energy target, like for example the solar energy, nuclear energy, thermal energy, wind energy. So in this regard, nuclear energy in the coming times can also help in the electricity generation like the solar energy is doing as of now. So this is few of the significance of nuclear energy. And now in the end, a prelims MCQ, and like always, you people need to tell me the answer in the comment section, and it is a PYQ of the year 2020, and the question says, in India, why are some nuclear reactors kept under IAEA safeguards while others are not? Some use uranium and others use thorium. Some use imported uranium and others use domestic supplies. Some are operated by foreign enterprises and others are operated by domestic enterprises. While last is, some are state owned and others are privately owned. Because it's a PYQ, I expect you to give me the right answer. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Till we meet next time, keep reading, keep writing, and keep subscribing to the channel. Thank you.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.